Autaliel, that's hello, greetings for my Conlang Etihus, and I was going to describe some of the grammar rules in it and how it's so simple and why. So, to kind of start off, a lot of us know about subject, verb, object order in a sentence, where your subject might be like boy, verb could be like give, and object would be like ball. You know, boy, give, ball, or gives ball if you want to be that specific. And then you've got, on top of that, you have different articles or modifier words that will give some specifics to this to make it a little more clear. So this is how Etihus works. Same subject, verb, and object order, but the difference is that all of the words, where they're placed in the sentence, is exactly where they'll go. So anything that modifies or describes a word follows it. So, pretty simple, nothing too big, nothing too interesting or weird. However, what is that all of this also applies to words. So I have three letters, or words, letter words, glyphs. I don't even know what to call them. It's weird. Where in Etihus, instead of having each letter simply represent a sound like it is in the English alphabet, you have the letter A represents a or ah, those types of sounds, depending on how you use them. In Etihus, letters are also assigned meanings. So we have the words here, letters, alt, and t. What Etihus can do is look at the individual, excuse my disability on terminologies here, I'm not a linguist, I'm a writer, but in Etihus, all the letters or letter words can describe any other depending on where they're placed or how they're placed. And so your prefixes become subjects, and your infixes become descriptive words, and your suffixes can become objects within a word itself. So if you get this, and it doesn't matter if you're using alt or t, you get the same meaning. But if you get this if you get alt and t after you get ut, which would be, it's an interesting concept, I know, but basically it's simultaneous. You get simultaneous in ut. And the way you'd write it is you'd take bits of pieces of your letters and you merge them. There you go. Ut. Simultaneous. One glyph. Or pieces of two glyphs. Right there. For simultaneous. Now, there is a way to reverse what I just wrote out here because of the way the grammar is structured. You start with beginning, which would be alt, and you add, then you get, that would be the correct way to do it. And Etihus is written top to bottom, and then columns are left to right. So it would be read top to bottom like this, and that would be alt. Now, this is the correct way to do it, but there are other ways you could do it. You could also do, which this is acceptable, but not necessarily correct. But then you have a proper way, which just kind of puts one after the other, just here and then after, which is still alt. There's no marks to separate that, or there's no reason to have any. But that would be proper. And the reason why this might be important is for if you are deaf. I do have the language in constructed sign language, so all of the letters, letter words in the language, I do have signs for them. But anyway, so this would basically mean end of a cycle. Opposite of the beginning. The end, basically. So there you go. Basic grammar, how it works. So basically, with the way the grammar and the structure of the alphabet is concerned, there's no distinguished vowels or consonants. The Etihus people that speak them, called the Uhsey, The Uhsey, they don't recognize differences between vowels or consonants. If you tried explaining it to someone from my fictional world or conworld, they would not understand you. There's no gender rules. There's no changed variances in between or within the letters themselves. Like in English, we have or a, depending on all the different rules. None of that exists in this language. It's impossible, or nearly impossible, to have two different words sound exactly or look exactly the same in Etihus. So you would never have that. Once you're fluid in writing or speaking it, it's written and spoken faster and is easier to understand than English, and it's more clear despite being more basic. Basically what it's doing is mixing the morphology, the syntax, and the sandhi rules kind of all together and applies them both simultaneously to letters to create words and also to sentences. There's always something to trade off whenever you're making anything, but in Etihus, the biggest trade-off is translating, because it's so far removed from English or Latin and the way most natural languages are structured as we know it. It takes quite a while to translate anything. However, with that being said, there are ways to simplify basic communication. You not only have the alphabet, you also have a couple of affixes that you can insert for different pieces of clarification, yes and no. There's multiple yes and there are multiple types of no in there, or numbers, or added strength to descriptions, and any one of those could become a gender, if you want to call it, or any one of those can be an adjective, like alt, for example. Alt can be a noun, it can be a verb, it can be a case, it can be morphed into any word, adjective, adverb, anything that you need it to do, it can do for you depending on where you put it in the sentence. And with one or two affixes added to it to describe it, how it's used. And then that's it. It's so very flexible. And there's a reason for that, but I'll go over that in the next video.